Hey everybody, welcome back to Rebootleggers. This is a comedy podcast where we reboot whatever the hell we want. I'm Scott Owen.
I'm Frank Serra,
And
I guess today we're being aggressive.
Today, I don't even care what you want. I'm rebooting what I want. And by popular demand, we have our second returning guest, third if you count the fact that we had two on the same day. But welcome back, Brock Wilbur.
I am so happy to be here. The last time I was on the show and we rebooted the Boxcar Children is one of, hands down, the most enjoyable hours of my entire year. My wife had to check on me because I was laughing too hard downstairs and was worried something was up. This should fall in line with that. The bar for today has been set exceptionally high, and I'm not sure I brought the intellectual property to match it. And after we did the show last time, I'm not sure I sent you guys the picture or not, but somebody from my family found a Boxcar Children like shirt on Amazon and sent it to me in the mail.
What?
And it didn't have like a who's it from or anything. It's just the fucking boxcar. But if you've got an eye for it, you know it's that boxcar. And I was like, did like Scott do this? Like,
How did he get my address?
yeah, I was like, this is like a really cool, kind of creepy, but real cool friendship move. Like, I'm a big fan, and I'm going to wear this boxcar shirt that no one else will understand except for us buddies that did this buddy show together.
Well, after this episode, so Brock has requested that we, a month ago, I said, hey, Brock, do you want to come back on? I was actually slightly drunk tweeting, and I asked Brock if he wanted to be back on, and he said yes. And then I asked him what movie he wanted to do, and he immediately said Mars Attacks. Was there a reason why?
So, yeah, let me get into what Mars Attacks is,
Let's
and
talk
then
Mars
that'll
Attacks.
set up some of this. So Mars Attacks is it's a set of cards that Topps Comics put out in 1962. You get a couple cards in a pack and a piece of bubblegum, and these cards made up this storyline. And the storyline...
These are just
was the
trading
story-
cards. They weren't like a playing card game. They were just
No,
cards
not
with
a trading
pictures on
card.
them.
Yeah, just playing cards. There's a scene on the front with a piece of art, and on the back it explains like what's happening.
I did find a Flickr that I just sent you the link to that contains all 53 cards.
It's been expanded to 75, and then they just did a sequel
What?
last year.
Roasted.
They're still
so
going?
Yeah. So are these like 53 cards. It's basically the story about how on Mars, the corrupt Martian government realizes that Mars is going to explode, but they don't tell people that's the reason why they need to get off Mars. They just say that they need to invade Earth. So they go and invade Earth, and what they come down to Earth with, these Martians come down, and they just start attacking cities, and they're blowing people up and stuff. And there's the scale of the violence and stuff here it goes from everything from like giant bugs that they create, like eating the Eiffel Tower, down to like a very specific iconic photo, which is of a dog jumping in front of a farm boy to protect him from the laser, and the dog gets like cooked in midair. And like it's all like it for 1962 and for a children's product,
Yeah.
it's fucking gory. It is just violent, out of control stuff here. But it had like it is basically the pre-production art for an entire movie. And Earth gets its ass kicked for forever, and then near the end there we figure out like we'll take the fight to them. So we go to Mars and we kill all of them. We go to their cities and just kill all the people there, just like they did to us. But
Oh my God.
1962 revenge. There's some World War parallels here that are uncomfortable. And then the planet blows up because it was going to blow up. And that's the story. So I didn't grow up with the 1962 trading card set, but in the very early 90s, ahead of the production of what would be this film, Topps Comics launched a comic book series about this, which was like the very first comic book series I grew up reading. Just like those kids finding that, I found this, and I was like, what the fuck is this? And it is told from the perspective mostly of the Martians, but some of the human resistance, and it's all these branching storylines and really like in-depth characters, but also just hyper violent shit. It has such a dark tone, and there's such terrible gore in it, but also like it gets into like it gets into a lot of like the Martians are all very intelligent, and there's a caste system, but there's also all this infighting, and it's about like a lot more of that like the corrupt government officials and things like that, and it's very smart and interesting and cool. So they announced that they were making a movie and that Tim Burton was making it, and so I was losing my fucking mind over this. It was the thing I was most excited for in the world, and before it came out, when I figured that this movie was going to be just like what I'd understood Mars Attacks to be to this point, there was actually a casting announcement in a small town 3 hours south of me in Kansas, where they wound up in the movie that you'll see later, shooting the sequences with Jack Black in the trailer park and the old folks home. And so what they were looking for these sequences that they were doing an open casting call for it was that they wanted Asian women under 5 feet tall to be stand-ins for the Martians, and they wanted people over the age of 75 to play old folks in the old folks home. I was a 6'2" sixth grader, and I forced my dad to take me out of school that day and drive me in a 6-hour round trip to go stand in line to just put in my name and picture. These weren't full auditions. It was just like, we need background, and I spent like an hour filling out like the sheet that was just supposed to be like pant size and whatever if they were going to call a local, and there's no way I ever could have done. And like, I made sure to write on my paper and to tell the woman I handed it to, like, I will pass on scale. I will do this for free. Like, I had figured out what scale was from the documents. Like, it was my very first Hollywood moment, and as successful as the rest of my Hollywood moments. Just like, yeah, put me in this movie for free in one of the roles that there's nothing fucking here for me. So I waited like a year, and then the Mars Attacks came out at like the end of 6th grade, and I actually got sent to the principal's office for talking about it too much in class because I wouldn't do my homework, and I just kept talking to other kids about how great Mars Attacks was going to be. And this was back before you could see trailers for stuff, so I didn't see stuff. I hadn't been to the movie theater. I hadn't seen a trailer at home or on the internet. So there's no way to tell what the tone was or what this was going to be.
You thought this was going to be the hyper gory, super intense comic adaptation. And not what Tim Burton gave us.
And so what Tim Burton winds up making is that he makes a tribute to all the 1950s sci-fi stuff that he loved. And also, he really wanted it to be, he wanted all the Martians and stuff to be stop motion because he wanted to be a tribute to the great stop motion animators that he'd loved over time, and the budget for that just completely ran out. So they did a lot of CGI, and it winds up being very stop motion-y, and it gets as close as, like, it wouldn't have fixed this if this was stop motion. It wouldn't be any more any different.
Right.
So what he winds up making is this tribute that is, it is pastiche, and it is a tribute to bad films of an era that, like, it is a movie for Tim Burton and for the people that truly are Tim Burton, and for a 6th grade kid to watch this, fucking what?
You're right.
And so I still, like, there's still a part of me that, like, this is the answer of why. The reason that I said reboot this right off the bat is that there is still a little part of my fucking lizard brain that is still angry over this thing that happened in 6th grade that I promised to work for them for fucking free. I promised to work for free.
No.
And you know what they gave me in return? This fucking thing, which I genuinely enjoy now. I think it is such a fun, interesting, lunatic movie, and I genuinely love it. But it took 10 years of, like, working through some anger and some hurt to get to that point. So that's our lead in here too, and now I get to talk to some people who just now have seen Mars Attacks, and this is exciting for me.
Frank chose to abstain because Frank likes to come into reboots knowing nothing in true Hollywood executive fashion.
I elected to be an audience surrogate for this episode. Me and Scott flipped a coin.
This one, I had no idea the what's the word I'm looking for? How big this. I didn't know it was an ensemble cast, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like, it is a ton of huge 90s celebrities in this movie. And I had no idea. I apparently never looked at, like, the cast or anything about this movie. So as the credits are rolling, you can ask my wife for confirmation on this. I'm just, like, shouting at the screen, "Holy shit, Pierce Brosnan? What? Danny DeVito?" Just, like, freaking out at all the people in this movie. Michael J. Fox is in this movie. Sarah Jessica Parker's in this movie. Glenn Close, Jack Nicholson, he's the president in this movie. I had no idea any of these people were here. I thought this was going to be
and Jack Nicholson plays a secondary role as well.
Yeah.
He also plays
a weird
Vegas guy.
Vegas rich man, like weird cowboy who's trying to open a hotel, and seems like we could have just not had him in this movie at all. Like there were several characters in this movie where I was like, why are they here? For instance, Danny DeVito plays rude gambler just to be a rude guy. It was very surreal.
It apparently went that they passed the script around Hollywood for a while, and the script was actually there was a first version of the script written in the 1980s by Alex Cox. Alex Cox, who is known for Repo Man and Sid and Nancy, and it's like, oh, I want to see his mid-80s post-Repo Man version of Mars Attacks, because that's actually probably what this should have fucking been. So he had this script, and then they rewrote it and stuff, and it'd been passed around Hollywood for a couple of years as Tim Burton was trying to get this together, and no one would fucking sign on to it except for Jack Nicholson. And like finally, and so the reason that all these people are in it is that on Tim Burton's behalf, Jack Nicholson called in all these favors, and like, and in return, Tim Burton was like, "Who do you want to play?" And Jack Nicholson said, "I want to play all the characters."
Oh
he
my
limited it
god,
to
he
two.
wanted to clumps it.
Yeah, he wanted to really clumps this one, which, you know what? We're so far in one direction with this movie. Why not go all the way? Why not make a full Jack Nicholson Mars Attacks? Like we're almost there. Like it's.
So this movie, as I was watching it, I kept thinking, did this come out before Independence Day or after? Because it felt very similar, where it begins with us realizing, oh, there's aliens and they're coming to Earth, and the whole movie is these it's like 5 different stories about just different characters, like, and then eventually their paths cross, but it's not
including a president and the scientist and the people within the president's administration that are there's a stripper.
There's a stripper,
which is a weird link between those two movies.
There's the hillbilly boy who wants to like fight in the army, and in this one he gets to, and the other one his dad is in the Air Force. But it's just like there were so many weird parallels.
I mean, the parallel for the dad in this one is Jack Black's character, who's just like, a lunatic army guy and gets himself killed.
Right. Yeah.
There is so much here, but also to originally answer your thing that. The inspiration for Independence Day also comes from the original Mars Attacks trading cards.
Okay.
So this winds up being in their release schedule, this sort of thing that's sort of like when we had the Dante's Peak volcano thing.
Yeah.
Except that weirdly, Independence Day takes this a lot more fucking seriously, which is a big letdown for me, and especially for child me.
Yeah, it was. So let's just do a quick summary of this movie. So it's basically like, it's kind of what I said. Aliens show up. Earth makes contact with them, and my favorite part about this movie is that the Martians basically just keep saying, we come in peace, and get Earth people to meet with them, and then they kill all of them. And it works 4 different times where the Martians pretend, they just act like, oh, this was a misunderstanding, let's go meet with Congress, and then they murder everyone, and then they're like, oh, sorry, that's our bad, let's go meet with the president of France, and then they murder everyone. It's just like this over and over and over thing.
There's a sequence near the end of the movie where they are just slaughtering people, and they're just running around with a machine that translates from Martian to English.
Yeah.
And it's just translating them constantly shouting, we come in peace.
Yes, it's just constantly shouting, do not run, we are your friends, as they're shooting and murdering people.
Also, it's important to note here that the Martians that we meet in this movie, none of them speak English. They speak this Martian language that sounds like this. Ack, ack,
Yep.
ack, ack.
Yep,
ack,
they just
ack,
go,
ack.
ack, ack.
And I didn't, and so that's a big difference from like the comic book that I was reading, where they were very intellectual beings, like having these long philosophical debates about whether or not they should be invading Earth. So that was already like a sign for young Brock, like something's going to be a different of this time.
A bit different.
But in some production interview that I was reading today, it turns out that like somebody was doing that on set, and that's actually just how it became the Martian language. Like it was just placeholder, and then like they were like, you know what? It's really funny. What if we just left that in? And so that's how they talk the entirety of the movie. And I'm like, every detail I find out about this breaks a new small part of my heart, but I also appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's why I love and hate this so much.
I love too that, so the Martians like interrupt, they take over Earth's television waves to like broadcast a message that no one can understand because they're speaking that language. And what I love is, so Pierce Brosnan plays a scientist in this, and they do the perfect trope of scientist who desperately wants to just make communication, make peace, let's just talk to them, juxtaposed with the warmongering general who just wants to murder all of them. And so they see these Martians on TV, and then somehow, just from seeing them on TV, the very next scene, Pierce Brosnan has this whole diagram of their internal anatomy explaining that they breathe nitrogen, they're probably telepathic, just all this bonkers stuff that you could not at all figure out based on just seeing a picture of one of them. And then
it's fantastic. It's fantastic
so
now.
It's so good. And then they also rig up this crazy machine that can translate what they're saying. And they seem to kind of like tease you and make you think that the translator is wrong, because the translator works in both directions. And so the first time they meet the Martians, they say something and then it translates it into Martian language, and the Martian like reacts as if they're saying something weird or offensive, but then they shake hands and it seems like it's fine. And then some guy releases a dove over the field that they're talking on, and then the Martians go nuts. So I guess my first question is the Martians hating birds a thing in the comics, or is that just a thing they made up for this movie? Because the Martians hate birds.
It's a thing that I think it's one of the other distractions, I'm pretty sure. Like, because then they argue about it. They're like, is it possible that a dove is a symbol of war on their world? And it's like, they don't have fucking doves. But also, like, they were going to come kill everybody. Anyway, that's what they did every other round of this.
Right.
Like, it doesn't matter. But it is very... rewatching this now... it is a very 2018 movie.
Yes.
Because I think it's a good movie to show people the difference between perhaps Democrats and leftists.
Yeah.
Because Democrats will go to some lengths to explain away just any bad thing as like, well, maybe this is our fault, or maybe we just didn't understand, or maybe it's a breakdown in our communication. It's like, no, they were going to kill us all anyway. It's it's right there. Like, we don't need to talk about the bird.
Yeah, so even after that's a good point. Even after the third time the Martians have done this, where they meet with government leaders and then murder them all, they get into the president's bunker, and he makes this big, huge speech about how we should work together. And then the Martian ambassador, like, puts his gun away and shakes the guy's hand, and then his hand comes off and turns into this weird tentacle thing that stabs the president through the heart and pops a Martian flag out of his chest. Like, it is just constantly, they're just like, okay, yeah, if you'll keep letting us in, we'll keep taking advantage of this. Like, just great moments like that. And then they take Pierce Brosnan's head off, and they put Sarah Jessica Parker's head on a dog, and it's very weird. And then...
I noticed your co-host isn't chiming in here.
Yeah, Frank, what do you think of all this?
This is all pretty wild.
I was literally just waiting to hear Frank make a noise when you said that Pierce Brosnan, Sarah Jessica Parker, and a dog all swapped bodies. So I'm a little disappointed I'm not hearing anything right now.
Frank's more of a passive listener than an active listener.
So, well, you guys were so excited. I didn't want to get in the way. Who gets whose head? Run that by me again.
Sarah Jessica Parker and her dog get their heads switched, and Pierce Brosnan's head just gets removed and attached to some weird hanging apparatus that keeps it alive, and he can like still talk and stuff.
Okay, do any of them kiss each other?
Oh, you know, Pierce, and they don't kiss until their heads both get. So there's.
I assume
as the flying saucer is it's crashing into the ocean. So Sarah Jessica Parker's head flops off of the dog's head, and Pierce Brosnan's head flops down on the floor, and their heads roll together so that they can smooch. And it's obviously like them wearing like green screen suits from the neck down, and then like down. And like rolling around trying to make it look like their heads are rolling around. It's really bad, but it's really great. And Pierce Brosnan constantly smoking a pipe because, you know, he's a scientist.
Mm-hmm. I gotta have my thinking smoke.
Yeah. Oh, and they realize I can't imagine that this is anywhere in any of the comics or the cards at all, right, Brock? But they figure out that they can defeat the Martians by playing this one like weird country yodeling song. I think it's called Indian Love Call or something. Like, it is a very old song of this guy just like
it just makes their heads go boom,
and it makes their heads explode. They discover that because they're attacking an old folks home, and this kid's grandma is listening to her records with her headphones in, and the Martians, instead of just shooting her when they see her, they see that her back is turned, and they wheel in this comically large laser cannon in and like line it up directly behind her, taking a lot of time. And then her grandson runs in and says, "Grandma, look out." And she turns around and can't hear him, so she pulls her headphone jack out of the speakers, which then blasts her old music and explodes all of their heads.
And then their heads go boom.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was very important that we do the mid-90s trope of having like a old rapping grandma. But
Yes.
here it's and the
dude.
song is Slim Whitman's Indian Love
Yeah,
Call, and
Slim Whitman.
The weird fucking tag that you're gonna get on this one is that after the film came out, Howard Stern realized that in 1982 he'd done a radio bit that there is a recording of called Slim Whitman versus the Midget Aliens from Mars.
What?
In which Slim Whitman's music is used to destroy the brains of invaders from Mars. And years later, he got Tim Burton on the show, and he was like, "Hey, I would never sue you because I like you, but like,
What the hell,
it is
man?
impossible to say that that's parallel thinking."
Yeah.
And like he plays the clip for Tim Burton, and Tim Burton's like, "I think we all have to acknowledge that we all universally believe Slim Whitman's voice to be like a weapon. Like, can we all agree on that? Like, whatever it is, like it is possible that is parallel thinking." And like before we recorded today, I spent maybe like 10 minutes thinking back and forth on like, is that, can I call that parallel thinking, or
Yeah.
is that just like that? It's just too much. It's just too much though. But like, yeah, the idea that like there's one song that they pick and it's this thing, which this is maybe when sixth grade Brock fucking went postal on the idea of like, they're playing this fucking grandpa music, and that's how the day gets won. I don't understand what's happening. And by that point in the movie, like some of our characters have stolen an airplane to fly onto an island where they all know that they're going to rebuild civilization and stuff. Like it's already spiraled so far out of control.
And they recruit Tom Jones. Tom Jones is singing at Vegas, where these are the Vegas people, and they
In
find
the movie, he's Tom Jones.
He's Tom Jones in the
Yes.
movie. He's performing at Vegas, and this
Yes.
guy he's a former heavyweight boxer, and now he's just like a guy dressed as King Tut in Las Vegas. And he like saves Tom Jones from some aliens, and then he goes, "Can you fly a plane?" And Tom Jones just goes, "Yeah, of course." And so then they go get a plane, and then they fly
I'm
to this
Tom
island.
Jones.
Yeah. So then they fly to this island, and the movie ends with them on the island, just like living in peace with animals. Like birds are landing on people's arms and they're singing. Like it is like the weirdest. It's a weird left
also,
turn in a movie
there-
of left turns.
That's one ending, and then another group of people are on the steps of the Capitol building or the White House or something, and like,
Oh yeah,
Natalie
the grandson and the
Portman is,
grandma
like-
for figuring out how to kill them.
Yeah.
President's first kid, Natalie Portman, gives them their Congressional
What?
Medal of Honors.
you know what? It does sound like we're making this up as we go along. This does sound like an episode of The Best Show or something.
Yeah, this
and
is all real.
this was 3 years before Phantom Menace.
Yes. This is probably how Natalie Portman got discovered. This put her on the map more so than Heat did.
I'm gonna go with The Professional. I'm gonna go with Leon being.
Yeah, The Professional probably is what did it.
Probably.
Leon?
That's fair.
There's a great part where this is like before the Martians have started attacking. Natalie Portman like comes out of her bedroom, clearly just woke up, and she tries to go like down this hallway, and a Secret Service agent says, "Oh, sorry, miss, you can't go this way. There's a tour in progress." And then later, the president and his wife are being evacuated through the White House because Martians are in the White House attacking. Like stuff is exploding everywhere. They're running down a hallway, and Glenn Close, the first lady, says, "Shouldn't we go that way?" And the Secret Service agent goes, "Oh, sorry, ma'am, there's a tour in progress." And I died laughing because like the Martians are just murdering everything, but they're still respecting the tour, like not interrupting the tour. It's very good. This movie is just bonkers. Frank, you should have watched it.
I
sounds
think there's
like
also like the part that you might want to look up and actually watch on like YouTube is that there is a montage of world destruction that happens at the start of the third act. That is
Yes.
almost all just the cards from the card
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
And it's like it is the Martians around the world, like they go to Easter Island, and to destroy Easter Island they bowl a gigantic
Yeah,
bowling ball
they play
that knocks
bowling with
everything
the
down.
heads. Like
And
the
they have
it
their own
is where
game.
you get like
Goosey.
the Independence Day montage of like all the different cities being destroyed, except like they're clever
comically
and
being
weird in all
yeah.
of these things.
They blow up the Washington Monument, and then as it's tipping over, like there's a group of Cub Scouts underneath it, and the Martian flying saucer keeps like flying to different sides of the monument, trying to knock it different directions onto the boys because they keep moving out of the way instead of just letting it fall. Like, it's very ridiculous. I think one of my favorite scenes is in the Martian ship. They're like, when they kidnapped Sarah Jessica Parker, they're like looking through her purse, and there's a Martian who just like unscrews her lipstick and then screams and throws it down and like panicked when he sees lipstick come out of it. Like, that got me really good, and it was a really dumb scene. Like, I laughed real hard at that. So
I don't think I've ever laughed at that, but I appreciate knowing that this movie gets some people.
I don't know why it got me. It was just his reaction of It's just like a very quick, oh god, there's lipstick. But so I went and tried to look up these comics, and they in 2013 they did Mars Attacks Popeye. They did in 2014 Mars Attacks Judge Dredd. They did Mars Attacks Transformers. Like, these Martians have been freaking everywhere. And I honestly don't know where to go with these Martians for our reboot.
The Martians visit those like universes, and it didn't happen before, but it's happening now to Popeye.
Yes, it's happening now to Popeye in
Awesome.
2013.
Yes. So
I believe IDW Comics owns them at this point, and
Yes.
IDW loves a good crossover because they have some. Like, I think there's a Mars Attacks Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles crossover.
Oh,
I'm
God,
almost
that'd be so
positive
good.
that that's
There's a
true.
Mars Attacks Zombies versus Robots, which is a weird thing to attack. Like, they're already
so
attacking
they just
each
come
other.
into the war. The war is happening, and then
Yeah.
they just swoop in and make it a three-way.
I guess we've kind of already been talking about our first segment. Let's just officially dive into our first segment called Love It or Leave It.
Love me or leave me or let me be lonely.
Where we talk about what we want to keep, what we love and what we don't like, what we want to keep and get rid of. It sounds like Brock and I love everything about this movie. I don't know what we need to, Brock, what are the big things that you want to make sure you keep?
I think the only thing that needs to be kept from this is the idea of just
Mars attacking.
really powerful Martians that just are coming to fuck us up. That is about the only concept that needs to be there for me.
Perfect. I just found, oh my god, do you guys know the Sunday comic strip Opus about the weird bird?
No.
Mars
You're not
Attacks
allowed to tell me
Opus.
How do they attack Opus, and how does Opus fight back?
We'd have to read it.
These are the
To
questions.
be fair, Opus Fights Back sounds like a great title for anything.
Yeah,
Opus
dude.
fights back. That'd be very good. Okay, so
So-
Frank, what do you want? What based on everything here? What do you think?
The thing that I want to keep is having a cast that is way too famous for what the product is.
Yeah, I like that.
Like I want Patrick Stewart in this. Like I want like Liam Neeson in this. Like for no reason.
you know, we have a segment for that.
I know. That's why I only gave you two. I only gave you a taste.
That's fine. Okay, let's. We basically spent the whole first. We've been recording for half an hour just recapping because we're so excited about this movie. Let's talk about.
Well,
let's
we have to recap the movie, and we have to recap both the original trading card premise, but also how it's been adapted previously, because there's three different sets of expectation here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm not. Three different sets of missed expectations for young Brock. This basically, we can title this episode "Reclaiming Brock's Childhood." Let's.
Are either of you familiar with the 1980s spin-off
What?
Dinosaurs Attack?
Yes. Yeah, they basically tried to do the card things again, and it's just dinosaurs, and it's the same thing. T-Rex
It's just
attacks the
hyper-violent.
city.
Dinosaurs
Yeah.
attacking
And it
modern day.
And it has a very, very specific art look that was developed by Wally Wood and Norman Saunders, which is it's kind of nice that everything that they keep doing, expanding these things or doing these spin-offs, they always do in the exact same style, which I appreciate.
Okay, guys.
And so what happened is that there were script revisions out there for Mars Attacks and Dinosaurs Attack. Tim Burton had both of them, and it was going to be a toss-up. Jurassic Park came out, and Tim Burton said, all right, well, that answers it, and he threw away Dinosaurs Attack.
No! What?
Oh, Tim, come back. Do that one. I mean, Mars Attacks is very good. Apparently at one point Mars attacked the Powerpuff Girls. Man, they've just literally been everywhere.
This is going to be a problem, isn't it? The rest of we have another half hour to go, and it's just going to be one of the three of us interrupting the other two with like, guys,
sorry guys, it's been done.
You will not believe it. You guys ever heard of the X-Men? You guys, look out.
You guys will not believe what else Mars has attacked. Uh-oh, guys, this just in. I have some bad news. Mars attacked Scooby-Doo.
No.
No, that was made up. I don't
Not
think.
the Scoobs.
Not the Scoobs.
Oh my god.
Okay, let's talk setting and genre in segment 2, when and where. This is where we can actually start figuring out what this reboot is gonna be. We need to figure out what do we want.
Mars attacks the Power Rangers.
Do we want Mars? Speaking of the Power Rangers,
Mars attacks Ghostbusters. Dude, this is not a joke. This is unbelievable.
Wait, Mars did attack the Power Rangers?
They and the Ghostbusters.
I'm just gonna send you guys a picture of
Mars attacks Spike, as in Spike, the vampire
Snoopy's
character
cousin?
from Buffy
Oh.
the Vampire Slayer.
I was thinking Snoopy the dog.
He does not attack Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He attacks Spike the Vampire in an IDW comic.
Jesus Christ. So I'm going to send you guys this picture. This is Glenn Close's costume in the first scene that you see her in. And immediately my reaction was Glenn Close is dressed like the Red Ranger. Like she is wearing a Power Ranger sweater in this scene. And so maybe this is them attacking.
Well, it's Nancy Reagan as the Red Queen from Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, you're right. She keeps she just keeps focusing on like remodeling the White House, and Natalie Portman just keeps telling her, "This isn't your house. You just live here."
What
And
if
she's
we-
like, "Whatever."
What if we do Mars attacks : everybody and just whoever the fuck we can think of?
This is the biggest crossover in cinema history. Move over Avengers Infinity
Our
War.
problem is going to be finding what hasn't been attacked yet.
Oh my god. Okay, here we go.
What if we just did Mars Attacks Riverdale, where they attack the current Riverdale CW TV show?
I've been waiting. I was gonna have a bell here to ding for when we brought up Riverdale, but here we are. I know this show. I know you guys. I know how this goes. Normally we hold this off until the who are we casting, but here it is,
It's
sneaking
true.
in early.
I'm desperate to get Dylan and Cole on this show at some point in its run. But I mean, you guys
Speaking
can say
of, you
no.
guys enjoying Sabrina?
I loved Sabrina. Me and my wife watched all of it. Like, it is fun. It is. I had not read the Chilling Adventures comic, so I was not prepared with just how far they lean into all the satanic stuff. And I was like, oh wow, Christians probably hate this.
Did you know we're not making shows for Christians anymore?
I think Christians hated the original one, the sitcom. Yeah.
Yeah. Should Mars attack the original Sabrina sitcom though?
Oh wow! Oh, it can attack in properties instead of the characters within those properties.
Yes. So it's
Mars attacks Dateline NBC.
Yeah.
Mars attacks Boy Meets World.
Mars attacks Nancy Grace.
There we go. Okay, now we're getting into it. And Nancy's probably like trying to solve the mystery of the Martians, trying to figure out who attacked the whole time, and everyone's like, "It's the Martians, Nancy."
There's a Dark Horse comic series called Archie versus Predator.
What?
Oh yeah, it's really good.
It's really good.
So does Mars attack Archie versus Predator now?
Oh, it has to, because that's the only way we have time to read it.
Okay, so
Yeah, there's a whole Archie thing about Archie versus zombies going right now.
unbelievable. Is Archie
Which
still IDW?
they've suggested that the zombies might make it onto Riverdale as early as this season because
Oh
they're
my
obviously leaning in.
God.
And then you lean into the crossover with the town next door where Sabrina lives.
called
So it's-
Greendale, which I can never not think of Community every time they keep mentioning Greendale on this show.
Right.
They're like, oh, they're coming to
The
Greendale.
Archie versus Predator trade paperback featured a one-shot comic entitled Sabrina Meets Hellboy.
What? Okay, which Sabrina are we talking about?
Spellman. The Archie Comics Sabrina's comic.
Okay. What if it was sitcom Sabrina meets Hellboy, though? That would be very different, huh?
That would go very different.
What if it's the old rom-com Sabrina?
They did a rom-com Sabrina?
Oh, no, the older movie Sabrina from the 60s?
I don't know that movie. Is it based on
Okay.
Sabrina the Teenage Witch?
No, Sabrina from 1954 with Aubrey Hepburn.
Oh, I found a poster for a 1995 Sabrina with Harrison Ford. Is that a remake?
Yes, that's the remake.
Oh my gosh. So what if this is okay. What if it's just Mars Attacks Sabrinas, plural, and we get every single Sabrina
The
in this
United
movie?
Coalition of Sabrinas.
So it's all three versions of Sabrina the Teenage Witch, both Sabrinas, Audrey Hepburn and Julie Ormond.
Yeah, wait. So we've got Melissa Joan Hart, Julie Ormond,
Kiernan Shipkin.
Ashley Tisdale, who was the animated Sabrina.
They had an animated Sabrina?
Yeah. It was like a Cartoon Network or something.
Man, Sabrina is way farther reaching than I ever anticipated.
The expanded Mars Attacks, the expanded Sabrina verse is worth looking at.
What if it's
Now, this is just wild. We're wasting a lot of time here, but this is bonkers.
None of this is a waste. This is all a treasure.
In the original Archie comics, Sabrina was created by Zelda and Hilda Powerpuff Girls style. They were brewing a potion, and they accidentally made a 12-year-old girl.
Oh. That is very different from the origins that I was led to believe by both TV shows.
That's weird science.
That's weird science. That's Wonder Woman. That's
was Wonder Woman brewed?
In one of her origin stories, her mom prays to she crafts a daughter out of clay and then prays to the gods, and the gods bring her to life.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then in the movie,
I think Hera specifically.
Yeah, it's and then in the movie they pretend that's the origin that her mom tells her she has, but then it turns out her mom fucked Zeus, which Zeus gets around.
Right.
Sometimes he fucks people as birds, which is kind of weird.
Right.
What if in our movie the Martians make a Sabrina? Is that anything?
Sabrina.
Is that anything?
Sabrina the Martian.
Buddy, I don't think asking "is that anything" belongs anywhere near this show. We can't start second guessing in the 40th minute.
Okay, so Martian Sabrina's the Green Ranger, right? And she wants to just get in there.
Wait a minute.
And be in all the shows.
Is she the Green Ranger archetype, or are you bringing in another property?
Oh shit! Is she the actual Green Ranger? We'll stick to archetype for now.
Brock, how much time do you have? Because I feel like this episode's going to go a little long.
I'm good.
So the Martians make their own Sabrina and just send her from Sabrina property to Sabrina property to replace the various
other Sabrinas. So are they making? So do they make many Sabrinas?
Are we getting into a they live situation where it's just propaganda?
Where they bring in Sabrinas to say, like, hey guys, you know what's cool? Pledging allegiance to our Martian overlords.
Yeah, generating as much nitrogen as you can and removing the oxygen from the air.
Well, what if the aliens accidentally spread the Sabrinas across the Sabrinaverse, and now, in order to correct that, we have this sort of Sabrina Highlander situation?
They can be
where
only
we need
one.
to get rid of all the Sabrinas.
Yes.
We have to undo what Mars has attacked, which is the timeline.
So are the Martians even in this anymore? Because I do very much want to have the discussion which Sabrina
Guys,
would
let's
win.
make a show called Sabrina.
What if... Okay, the Martians will be... I'm going to keep... I don't know why. I'm going to keep relating this to Power Rangers. The Martians are going to be the Rita Repulsa. At the beginning and then end of the episode,
They
the
send a
Martians are on
different
Mars,
Sabrina?
and they're shaking their fists, and they're going, we're going to get you this time.
So the Sabrina Rangers is what you're getting at.
Are they all in the same place? I thought we would like travel and have them like
I think-
absorbing each other's powers.
Okay, there's got to be at least one episode where they do all team up for a supergroup for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But so you're saying each episode takes place in a different Sabrina verse where they send a doppelganger Sabrina that the resident Sabrina of that Sabrina verse has to fight and destroy? Is that what's happening? Why are the Martians so interested in Sabrina specifically? They've met the Transformers. Why do they care more about Sabrina?
Well, they're Martian minds. We can't possibly guess what they're thinking, Scott.
They have very big brains. Brock, did Martians have telepathy in the comics? because in the movie, Pierce Brosnan says they probably have telepathy, and then they never do anything with it.
Yes, they do. And like, of course, in the comics, that's used in like council meetings where somebody communicates like, I'm lying to another like member of the council, and they're like, good, I'm also lying.
They do that very good thing where they can like talk and have a brain conversation at the exact same time.
Yes.
And they never I feel like they're in real life that would so often like spill over, like they would just end up accidentally switching conversations. Yeah.
I can't have a phone conversation while I'm trying to read the directions on a box of food.
Right.
Like
Well, Martian would be talking and then just
actually,
wait, what?
that is a thing that actually comes up in the Suspiria remake.
What? Switching brain conversations in a real life conversation?
Yeah, like there's a coven of witches, and they're often having conversations, but they're also having brain conversations over the top of it, and it's all in German, so it's all subtitled, and so you see them sort of like having to keep up appearances while having brain conversations about things.
Whoa.
I wasn't exactly sure what I was seeing in the first scene of the movie where it happened, and by later in a scene, like they're all like trying to laugh and have fun in like a restaurant out in public, but also having the conversations on top of it, and you're like, oh, okay, I see what's happening now. So yes, this is weirdly, this is in vogue.
Okay. Does Sabrina ever have brain conversations in any of her forms, Frank? You're our resident Sabrina expert.
Yeah, apparently. I don't think so.
Okay.
That's all I got for you.
Frank, where are you at on the new Sabrina show? How have you finished it yet?
I finished episode, I think 5.
Okay. Brock, have you finished the show yet? I'm just wondering how far
Absolutely
I can discuss. Not. Okay. Are you going to finish it,
But you
Brock?
can discuss as far as you want.
So, I would like to... Do all the Sabrinas, maybe they all get... What if they all have to fight each other, and then they realize that they're not the enemy? They realize it's the Martians orchestrating this Sabrina Highlander contest. What if... Okay, hear me out on this. What if the new Mars, their new MO, instead of just invading planets, is they just basically they invade universes where they make the universe fight itself? Does that make sense? All the Sabrinas have to fight each other because the Martians want them to. What is that? What is that? Is that... I know I'm not supposed to ask this question, but is that anything?
I feel like you guys got to rename the podcast now.
To Is That Anything?
So they want to trick they're bored, and they want to trick planets into defeating themselves. Is this what's happening?
Maybe. I just feel like on the one hand, I'm very interested in the Sabrina-verse. On the other hand, I don't want to abandon the Martians.
Look, here's how I think we tie that into what I honestly think would be the good reboot idea here. And I mentioned that to Scott when we first brought this up. I would love to make a 2018 Mars Attacks, which is about them coming to invade. And there's a big thing throughout the comics that like their like surveillance of us hasn't been able to be that good over the years, especially because like more recently we have like satellites and technology, so they don't want to expose themselves. But they're like that they've sort of sent like parties to check out the planet throughout history, and like there's a bunch of one shots where like one of them shows up like in the caveman days, and of course instantly gets speared by a caveman. And there's another one where one shows up in like a Wild West town, and the cowboys shoot the fuck out of it. So there is this weird backstory line that's sort of like, oh, man has always just murdered the shit out of them. So there's no reason, like, especially when they were coming actually as peaceful envoys over the years, and like, we've never done good. So like, there's this sort of idea that like maybe they haven't been able to check in that much on Earth lately because our technology has gotten so good they can't just send ships down here anymore to check out stuff. But let's keep that bit about how Mars is going to explode and they need somewhere else to go. They all get on their ships. They all come this way. Mars explodes. So they really like now it is this like
they got it. The
it's a
stakes
one-way
are high.
It's the burning of the ships from Columbus. Like the sort of like, okay, now we've got to do all this stuff or else like we can't. You'll die. But they get here and realize, especially with like recent news and stuff, this planet's got like 12 years till it's fucked forever. Yeah. I like the idea that they would get here, be stuck having to be here, but also realize like this this planet is fucked. Like,
Yeah,
it really
like-
doesn't have a chance. So I like the idea of like Mars being stuck in a situation where it either needs to do one of these two or needs to do both at the same time, which is to invade, to fix the planet, or to start fixing the planet before it invades. I love the idea of like trying to like burn all the cities, but like don't burn the tires on the cars because that'll make the atmosphere
make it
worse.
worse.
Or
Okay.
like or just like this very environmental
Yes.
invasion and extermination of the human species because we fucked it up. And I realize that this becomes both Signs and The Happening.
Yeah.
Where it's just about like, okay,
It's never stopped us before.
We've fucked up the planet and something needs to come stop us. And the idea that it is Martians.
So this movie's gonna end with Mark Wahlberg screaming at the sky, "We're sorry," and that's all.
Is that what fixes? Is that what stops The Happening?
Yeah,
from
in The
happening, by
Happening,
way?
Mark Wahlberg apologizes on behalf of all humanity, and then Mother Nature listens and stops.
Oh shit!
Yeah, he just yells at the sky, "We're sorry, we're not gonna do it again."
Interesting. So what if you guys can say no to this? What if, or say yes? What if? So Martians come and they have to kill us to fix the planet that they want to have, but what if they also don't have? So they showed up and they didn't realize that our planet was fucked. So they weren't prepared for that. So they can't, and they've already shown based on their planet that they're not good at fixing planets because they didn't fix their own. So what if their solution is, well, the only way we can fix this is magic, and then they collect Sabrinas.
And now you've gotten Sabrina back in. Okay, I see what this has all been about.
I just very much enjoy that idea, but otherwise, the Martian we'd have to explain why that, like, if the Martian, so did they? How come they couldn't fix their planet if they're come here to fix our planet? I guess our planet's not quite ruined yet. It's just about there.
It's just about there, but also like I think the thing about theirs was that like I think it was basically like the same rules as Superman's planet. Like the core was exploding or something, like something far beyond their control. Like they'd definitely done very well on Mars, but like, whoops, you're a neutron star now. There wasn't
Yeah.
any recycling you could do to prevent that.
In more recent Superman Origins, they've updated that to be it's still the core is exploding, but now it's caused by the Kryptonians doing things they shouldn't have been doing, and no one would listen to Superman's dad when he told them to stop. So he's the only one who knew it was coming and could get his baby into space in time. But
That's a really good version of that, I think.
yeah. So I wanted to, so where do we go from here? Is it just a movie of Martians killing humans, but in a way that they like? Is it just a bunch of scenes of Martians being very careful?
Is this a 22 short films about Springfield, just kind of series of vignettes
Of different
advancing in
Martians
time?
showing up and over time, Frank? Like
Yeah, so like
throughout the years.
Cloud Atlas.
Oh, that's a weird movie, and you want to do that with Mars Attacks.
I mean, if you did that, then it becomes about the re-terraforming of our planet. It's about them fixing it for both of us, or we keep the part in about how they breathe nitrogen, and it is, there's a lot of that happens in the comic book that they immediately start terraforming Earth to be a nitrogen-based environment. So of course,
Do they accidentally make it a perfect environment for dinosaurs?
buddy? You just won.
So the Martians are fighting humans to make Earth more suited for Mars, but then
And they basically win against the humans, right? We already knew that. We already knew that.
But what they didn't realize was that they've reawoken the hiding dinosaurs who weren't extinct. They were just biding their time until humanity fucked itself.
yeah,
And then
the
of
supreme
course we know that
monstrosity.
humans can ride dinosaurs, so we've got a real rock paper Mars attack situation here. of who's winning?
So the dinosaurs and the humans team up against the Martians? Is that what's happening here?
No one answer.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I feel like if you put a T-Rex and a Martian and a people in the room, think the T-Rex is who's walking out of that.
So are
Guys, no matter who wins, we lose.
No matter
I got
who
a
wins-
tagline.
yeah.
No one's
Oh,
ever
that-
used it before.
No one's ever
Yes.
No one's ever used that.
Can we?
It's original and we invented it.
Can we play off of that crazy conspiracy theory that dinosaurs never actually went extinct and they've literally just been hiding among us? Like they've learned how to disguise themselves as humans?
Oh yeah, dude. Oh, that kind. I've not heard that before.
I've not
Yeah.
heard that. Did you just make that
I thought
up?
you were talking about like the Savage Lands.
I think it's tangentially related to the lizard men conspiracy theory, but there is
like the Supreme Court. Yeah.
there is a real conspiracy theory that dinosaurs never went extinct. They're just more intelligent than us and they've been hiding. There's actually a really, really great couple of books called Anonymous Rex and Casual Rex, and they're like film noir or noir detective style books about a velociraptor detective. It's
Holy
really fucking
shit.
great.
I read those books and I have not remembered them in so long.
You probably borrowed them from me in college.
I almost certainly borrowed them from you. Oh my god.
They're really
that
great.
was 10 years ago.
Yeah, they're really great. But I would love it if it turns out that like so I guess so in our movie, dinosaurs are still around. They've just been hiding. Are dinosaurs hiding as humans, or are they just hiding and they're still enormous?
I think it's hilarious if they're just hiding. So like
one of them
cut
is
to
just
Japan,
painted like a
Mount
landscape.
Fuji explodes and it's actually 4 brontosauruses.
like most of nature is just like scenery painted
Dinosaurs.
onto a dinosaur.
Yeah.
Okay. So at what point, like, why did the dinosaurs not immediately? Were they sleeping, Frank? Why did they not immediately respond to this
they were
Martian
so
threat?
sleepy because there wasn't enough oxygen in the atmosphere.
Nitrogen.
There wasn't enough nitrogen in the atmosphere
Okay. Did
because
dinosaurs
they were just so
like
they
it
were just so
hot?
sleepy. Dinosaurs love it hot.
Are we sure about that? Because didn't we?
No, our dinosaurs, they love it with less oxygen.
Oh, our movie dinosaurs like it hot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some dinosaurs like it hot.
Some like it hot.
Some like it hot.
Dinosaurs.
Some dinosaurs like it hot in Cleveland.
Buddy, come on. I know we've said a lot of things here today, but that's something you can't take back.
Nobody likes it hot in Cleveland, Frank. Okay, so
I kind of like that.
it was very. Would it be better with dinosaurs though, Brock? If there were dinosaurs in hot in Cleveland?
Nope.
Okay.
No, it would not be.
So for our film, I really like the idea of like third act dinosaurs, right? Where like
Yes.
it's not about that until it's all about that.
And to be clear, at no point in any promotional item or trailer for this movie will they show dinosaurs. Like dinosaurs will be, people will be like, "What the fuck?" Like it will be a great moment where nobody saw dinosaurs coming. Now, how accurate do we have to be? I guess the answer is not at all. I'm sorry. I don't know even why I asked that. So let's talk. We need to come up with some characters and also cast those characters. So let's do that in Who Can It Be?
Can it be now?
You know what? I think we've learned from the first Mars Attacks movie that we should forget characters because most of them didn't even have names. Just throw out some names of some actors and actresses that you would like to see be in this.
Right,
Basically
yes.
playing themselves.
Yes. So you know Dylan and Cole have to be in this movie, Brock. You know that.
One is a human, one is a Martian.
Yeah.
Riverdale.
Brock, do you want the entire cast of Riverdale in this movie?
Yeah, Riverdale attacks.
As the Riverdale characters, wholesale.
Right.
We can talk to the CW. We got an in.
We've got an in.
I'm friends with the Goog.
I liked with who? Oh, Mark Guggenheim.
With Mark Guggenheim.
I don't think he does Riverdale, does he?
Jesus Christ, man.
I do.
I'm in with the Berlanti. That's short for Greg Berlanti.
the Berlanti. I know, and Brock, I know you've got that Zach and Cody connection for us to get them in there, and I do think, Frank, I do like you said Patrick Stewart. I do think he should be in here. for
I
sure.
think in real life, Patrick Stewart would say yes to something like this. He's just going off the wall.
Yeah.
And he's in it with his husband, Ian McKellen.
Yes, that's exactly what I was gonna say.
Yes.
I was literally about to say that exact thing.
They're like a Connecticut couple who has been they've been going through a bit of a rough patch, and they're going to rediscover their relationship while they're on the long dark highway
Yes,
into
one
survivalism.
of them is going to shoot a Martian in the head in order to save the other, and I think it has to be Ian McKellen who does the murder. Like I just think he's gonna be the one to do it, and he'll say.
I think so
something
because he would be
badass.
the better one to have like the PTSD afterwards that Patrick Stewart has to talk him down from, like over the next few months. Like just like it's
Yeah.
okay. You didn't have a choice.
You didn't have a choice. Did you see his brain though? Okay, Brock, who's your dream casting? Who do you want to see in this?
And remember, we've got dinosaur voices as well.
Oh shit.
Oh my God! Shit.
Who do you want
No,
to
you
see?
guys keep going.
Okay. Frank, who
you know
do you
what?
want to see voice
no,
a Brachiosaurus?
I'd like to take it back. I would like to see all the dinosaurs voiced by the cast of Glow,
Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right.
starting
we've
with
got-
Mark
we've got-
Maron and then
Mark-
working its way down.
We've got Mark Maron as a pterodactyl for sure.
Yeah, I just chain smoking with his little pterodactyl, his little hand that comes off the wing. It's just always got a cigarette.
Okay. And then what dinosaur is Allison Brie?
Something smaller, I think. Something sleeker.
Or
The
what if she's
briosaur.
something very big? A
Or
whatasaur?
something very big.
Which kind of dinosaur did you say?
A briosaur.
Oh, that's not a real dinosaur though, is it? I don't know my dinosaur. A briosaur. She can be. What if she's it doesn't matter. She's a dinosaur.
She's just a dinosaur.
She's just a
What
dinosaur.
I want to do is orchestrate a Zack and Cody reunion and get Kim Rhodes back.
So do you want
Jodie
them,
Mills in Supernatural and their mother in the Zack and Cody TV show.
Do you think that Dylan and Cole would be willing to once again become Zack and Cody for this?
No, I want to do like they're still who they are, and
They're
then
still
when
who they
Kim
are.
Rhodes shows up,
Okay.
she says like, "Wow, you look a lot like somebody I know," and then they all three of them look at the camera and wink.
Let's just have let's get Dylan to be, I don't know, he's like a professional skateboarder who's in this for some reason. And then we can get Cole to just do the mocap for every single Martian.
Also, I think
Okay.
that our celebrity that is playing the celebrity should be Tony Hawk.
Oh, okay.
Okay, wait.
Because
Dylan plays
Tony
Tony
Hawk now
Hawk.
has some. Oh,
Tony
okay.
Hawk plays Rob Dyrdek. Rob Dyrdek not in the movie.
Is
Oh,
Rob,
wow.
Is Rob Dyrdek a skateboard man, Frank?
Yeah, he did a lot of MTV shows and stuff too.
Okay.
He does, I think, BMX mostly.
You don't want Tony Hawk to play himself? So Tony Hawk, Brock, you want
Tony Hawk's a real sport based on Twitter. I think he'd like to play Rob Dyrdek.
and
Yeah.
and so he'd be Brock. Is he our Tom Jones in this movie?
That was kind of what I was thinking. Was that like instead of being like, "Can you fly a helicopter?" It's like, "Can you flip a half pipe?" And he's like, "I'm Tony Hawk." And
They
then
all have
he,
to-
he skates all the way down the spines of the Stegosaurus, and that's how the Stegosaurus is like, you know what? I think I got to team up with you guys because like I'm not gonna fight something with that kind of powers
With
and
that
prowess.
kind of extreme ratitude.
Yeah.
The
Boy, howdy, I've been asleep for a while, but
he is-
now I am awake.
the entire movie he is playing Rob Dyrdek, but then in that scene he says, "I am Tony Hawk," and we just leave it. We don't have the budget.
He's playing
to keep
Rob Dyrdek, but they say, "Can you do a half pipe?" And he says, "Yeah, I'm Tony Hawk."
I'm Tony Hawk.
Oh my god.
Okay. All right.
And then
You
we
guys,
put it
you
in
guys,
the
what would
IMDb
happen?
error
What would
section.
happen? What would happen if I told you I hadn't been recording this entire time?
I'd be really sad.
I would be too. It didn't happen. I just realized that we have such magic in the can here, and it would be
God,
impossible
Brock, my
to ever.
heart.
It would be impossible to ever work our way back to this point.
My heart.
I don't even know how we brought Sabrina in, so I don't even know. I don't know how we got to Tony Hawk
really haven't
playing Rob
yet.
Dyrdek.
I feel like editing this episode is gonna be like listening to like a recording of me just like of the three of us just shit faced drunk. Like, wait, how did we get there? Like, I don't remember this at all.
Oh my god.
We always wind up doing like the intellectual equivalent of like robbing a bank, but then also putting the money back, and then it's just us back at the hideout going. So where did we go wrong there? That was
Okay, I want each of us. We'll do one more celebrity ad. Each of us goes around. Let's start with Frank. Give me your last celebrity ad.
Oh, just put him in the spot. So,
Yeah.
Tobey Maguire.
Ooh, Brock.
Flea of the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Okay, and I
He would
choose
say yes.
Selena Gomez.
Oh yes. Okay.
Yes. Yes, yes.
Okay. Let's finish this movie with our last segment. What's going on? We need like the barest skeleton of a plot here. We need to I think we've kind of
Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, epilogue.
So Mars attacks. Is Act 1 all on Mars?
Oh, interesting. No, I think maybe if we're doing it this way, the parallel is that like Act 1 is entirely split between Earth and Mars, so each gets equal time.
Yeah.
But it is mostly focused on how like scientists on both planets are just like, well, shit's fucked, but Mars is the only one that has the ability to leave their planet.
Okay.
So they all like pack up, but don't know about how like the parallel is like, yeah, we're also equally fucked. Like they just don't know.
How I thought this would be a huge last minute pivot, and I don't want to do it because I want the dinosaurs. But what if in our movie Earth we could leave Earth and Earth goes to Mars and Mars goes to Earth, and then we both arrive and go, ah, fuck, because we realize like the planet is fucked either way. Like,
and then we go back and we meet on the moon. Oh, you know what? That brings up an interesting point because both like of the Doom games are like set on like the moons of Mars, and those seem like stable for, you know what? Yeah. Oh, but those moons would be too close to Mars, so if it exploded, those moons would be fucked. Okay, they do have to come to Earth.
Okay, they do have to come to Earth. Yeah. What is it in Doom? For some reason, there's a portal to hell on Mars. Like that's where hell is. Makes sense.
Yeah.
That new Doom game is fun. Okay, so we've got the back and forth. Earth is like, what do we do? We need to fix this. We need to get some legislation passed. And Mars is like, hey, we didn't get any legislation passed. We gotta go. Mars is basically Earth in 20 years.
Yeah, I really like that. Like it also it's the Akiva Goldsmith very like Day After Tomorrow Independence Day environmentalist thing where it's just like look what could happen like the day after tomorrow, and there are a day after tomorrow. They're 20 years down the line, and they're like, oh, we just couldn't find common ground, and now there's not going to be any ground. That's how it works here.
There's actually no more ground. I like that our dinosaurs team up with humans, but I also almost like the idea that dinosaurs wake up and they're like, both of you get the fuck out, and they just throw everyone off the planet.
We were here first.
And
we were doing great until an asteroid hit, kind of out of our control. But hey, guess what? Life finds a way, and you guys not helping life out.
Can we reveal that asteroid somehow came from Mars?
Perfect. Now we have the Starship Troopers element.
Yes, Mars accidentally paved the way for humanity, much like in the movie Mission to Mars with Gary shit.
Busey?
No, not Busey. Ah, god damn it.
Mission to Mars.
This is not worth spending the time on, but we're doing it.
Mission to Gary Sinise.
Sinise, thank you.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so
CSI New York.
Who's our
Why did you say that?
Because Gary Sinise is in that show, I think.
He's the lead detective in CSI New York. For like...
Yeah, I know he is, but why did you say it?
I didn't realize who he was until I went to his page.
Frank, didn't you read Brock's Rider? We are never to mention CSI to Brock.
Never to.
No,
I'm so
sorry. Have you not
sorry.
seen Forrest Gump? I'm just so. Oh,
Why
you're
is
just
that your
reminding
call?
yourself who Gary Sinise is. It would just be funny if every time we brought up an actor, we also mentioned just an unaffiliated property that they've been in.
Yeah, Gary Sinise, Apollo 13.
Hey, that's a space movie. That could also tie in.
Oh, shit.
Okay, do we have...
Humanity gets destroyed. Epilogue. Smash cut to the ISS. We're it, boys. Let's take this planet back from the dinosaurs.
Wait, but are we going that way now? I really do like humans riding dinosaurs. Maybe only some humans got to team up with dinosaurs, but like the dumb president
I feel like
who won't
once
pass the
everybody
legislation.
wins, the dinosaurs would just eat the people and then win for real.
I think we. Oh, well, I mean, you don't want to have some humans get to ride dinosaurs and be friends forever in the Savage Land.
I gotta say, I like that.
What if we do that, but like all the legislators, like all the people who didn't want to help get tossed into space with the Martians, and they all have to make their own way and figure that shit out?
I think that the dinosaurs and the people team up because the world has changed and dinosaurs don't have like a civilization or something. So they recognize that like they're not going to make it because like we have fucked up the planet to the point nothing that they hunted is here. The forests and other environs that they lived in are no longer here. They've got to help destroy these terraforming centers that are filling the world with nitrogen because we got to do something. But also, when that happens, we're also going to have to be the ones that provide them with food and help them like keep surviving because it is untenable for them to live here and they can't build spaceships.
It's a pretty classic sci-fi thing where humanity has factions and then suddenly we are all one race fighting against the aliens. So now that race, the human race, is now the Earth race and it includes dinosaurs.
It's very the Pilgrims and the Indians, but I'm not sure which side is which side, but also it can still probably have a sequel that ends in terrible bloodshed.
Who do you guys want to play the president in this movie? I know we're supposed to be moved on, but I think this is an important role that we need to keep. Should we just get Jack Nicholson again? I do have to say, watching this movie, I think if Jack Nicholson was ever really president, I would be constantly unnerved by him all the time, just because every time he gives a speech, it sounds like he's like a serial killer trying to keep his voice down. Like, it is just...
He's trying to emulate what he thinks emotions are.
Yeah, it's just very, like, he's too smooth, it feels like, when he talks.
You know who I think should play the president? David Cronenberg.
Okay. Why?
Oh, I watched Night... what is it called? The one where he plays the serial killer in it.
Oh, okay. I was thinking, oh, that is the same guy from The Fly. Okay, yeah. Who made The Fly. So, are we getting Tim Burton to direct this again, or are we directing it? Brock, do you have a lot of directorial experience? I'm not a big director.
I think we find one of the people that did one of those recent A24. John Krasinski. John Krasinski directs this.
Oh, yeah.
Jonathan, Johnny. Another word for John. Okay, so I mean, do we need more for this plot than Martians show up, humans fight Martians, dinosaurs show up, humans and dinosaurs fight Martians and win? Is there more that we need to go into detail here?
That's all the first one had, and it did fine.
That's all the first one had. The first one didn't even have dinosaurs, Frank. You'd know that if you
watched
right.
It. We got a +1.
Are we sure
dinosaurs.
We don't want to put Sabrina in it anywhere? I'm just making sure.
How about she comes through a portal in the epilogue, and that sets up the sequel.
Oh, okay. And she says, "Wow, this Earth got fucked."
She says, "This isn't even the right timeline. We got to fix the timeline."
I do want to clarify. Cronenberg is the bad guy in Clive Barker's Nightbreed from 1990, where I think he is a fucking excellent actor, and that is why I would put him in there. But also, he is aged to just the right point where, like, I've been spending a lot of time lately thinking about, like, how old presidents are now, especially like with the talk of like Bernie running again and with Trump's age and stuff. And I was like,
so weird.
You know what? Cronenberg is in that right age range, and like he has such a weird, like, he has a very David Lynch look about him, but a very different sort of presence. And I think that would make a good... He is a guy that at this point in his life, like if he tried to talk to me about taxes, I'd be like, yeah, man, like whatever you think. So I think he would be a good president. I did want to stand by and explain that one because saying I saw him in the movie Night Whatever didn't really sell that.
I saw him in a movie and he's my president now. Okay.
Hey, that's how it works. Home Alone 2, man.
Oh God!
Do you know about the Trump cameos? Have you read the article on it?
No.
I will send it your way. There is a huge deep dive that somebody like Vulture did, like last year, which was about like every time somebody shot in like one of Trump's properties, a movie, he was like, you like wrote into the contract, you have to give me a cameo. So there's a lot of movies that like shot a cameo scene for him, knowing full well that they were going to cut it later or something like that.
That's
and
so
like
good.
Home Alone 2 is one of the only ones where it snuck through, but there's like stories on set from people being like, yeah, we filmed the scene with like Donald Trump and there wasn't even fucking film in the cameras. So like
That's
no one has ever liked
fantastic.
or respected him. I'll send you the link.
makes
I'll,
me
I'll
so
find
happy.
it later. Oh yeah, it's so good.
Okay, Frank, do you have any final thoughts that you
Oh,
want to
man.
shove into this film?
I want a T-Rex to bite a flying saucer and like
Oh, shit,
swing it
yeah.
around, and then just
Yes.
like launch it into some kind of monument by accident
By accident. Okay.
or on purpose. I don't know what the dinosaurs.
Brock, how will 6th grade Brock feel about this movie? Is he going to be more upset than he was before?
I don't think that you can do anything more upsetting than to throw Ed Wood at something that that 6th grade Brock loved, especially before he understood like appreciating something for like its enthusiasm or its heart, which is truly what this film captures of everything
Yes.
that Tim Burton has done in his entire fucking career, including Ed Wood. This one captures, I think, most clearly and most directly a love for the sort of movies that made him of a time and of a place, and the fact that he got to put some of the biggest goddamn names in Hollywood
I know.
into his thing, which also like even helps sell it because like, you know, the films of the 50s and 60s he's basing it on are also the launching points for a lot of these careers. Like Jack Nicholson's first film was, you know, being in the original Little Shop of Horrors, and like
right.
for Roger Corman, like no one fucking liked that. That's the point. That's why it was made into a musical, because it was a cult bullshit thing.
Yeah.
So like there's so much about it that feeds into it and that you love, but you need like an appreciation of film to get there, or even just an appreciation of some pot and some friends. Like and in 6th grade I didn't have either of those. So like now, like I can just appreciate like, and for Tim Burton too, it's just a labor of love. And I do kind of wish we could see the version where it is all stop motion, Harryhausen level like stuff
Yeah.
here. This is it's not, the CGI is not that much different than what that would have been. Although I don't know, 96 and that technology, if this movie looked half Nightmare Before Christmas and half huge name stars, is that a movie that would be a gigantic success right now? I can't tell. The Slim Whitman's Indian love song probably still cancels all that out as a
Yeah.
major plot point.
Almost definitely.
Yeah, so that's my thoughts.
Yeah. Knowing that the Martians were originally intended to be stop motion explains a lot, because the whole time it's like, wow, these guys look real. Like I've seen Jurassic Park. CG was surprisingly good for its time, and these guys look like garbage. Once you realize, oh, they're supposed to look stop motion, it makes them much better. I mean, there are some parts where they move very fluidly, and then there's other parts where they're very jerky, and that explains that.
Oh, we didn't even get to bring up the fact that Lisa Marie Presley plays a tall, seductress alien that bites off
yeah.
Martin Short's finger.
Oh, and we didn't even talk about that Martin Short's in this as the press secretary.
And one of the stories is that like she has this gigantic beehive hairdo that's of course hiding
Covering a giant Martian
weapons
head.
and stuff. But apparently they like affixed it to her head by like weaving her own hair into it, and it was like a giant like 2 foot tall thing that at one point was pulled off of her head and yanked a large part of her skull out. So she has
God.
a giant scar on her head from being in Mars attacks. Which is a thing that she says she does not regret to this day, but like you gotta regret that a little bit, that you got like you got scalped to be in Mars attacks. It's not great.
She does a very good job. Frank, you can watch this after the episode. I'm saying to you the scene that she's in, but she is just like super creepy, but like does a great job of like moving around like a creepy Martian pretending to be a human.
And then you've got a Danny Elfman score behind her that's
Yeah.
just aping everything from like Thing from Another World and stuff, and
Yeah, it's
a million
very good.
theremins. Yeah.
All right, let's get to everybody's favorite part. Frank, maybe this is the episode we do it. We need a name for this food and Mountain Dew segment. What do we call this?
The TV tray.
And Brock, feel free to give us some good Brock Wilbur nuggets. Maybe that's what we call it. This can be Brock
Wilbur
Wilbur.
nuggets?
It'll be if with Brock's permission, this will be the Brock Wilbur sponsored segment where it'll be like we come up with a segment and then it'll be called Brought to You by Brock Wilbur.
Yeah, how much do I have to pay you guys each episode?
Oh, you pay us?
Yeah.
Wait.
I think we can talk about it. Maybe just
Let's call it chug and slug.
Oh my god.
What's the slug
Because
part?
it's what do you chug and then what do you slug into your mouth?
Is that what you call eating? You call it slugging?
Have I never used that with you before?
I've never heard it before.
It's a very common expression.
That can't be true.
You can't prove it's not.
What if it Brock Wilbur's snack attack?
I actually really like that. Yeah, I don't have a joke. I like that.
Yeah. That's what we're
So what are
going
we
with
chugging?
unless you
What
don't
are
want
we-
us to,
What are we
Brock.
slugging? No, I can't stop anything.
I can't stop it. All right, Brock. What food and Mountain Dew do our listeners need to consume with this crazy ass new reboot that we're making?
What food in Mountain Dew?
Yeah, so there's a food that they have to eat. Did we not do this when you were on last time? So there's a food.
Yeah.
You got to choose a
might not,
food
yeah.
for them to eat, like a snack that pairs well with this reboot, and then a flavor of Mountain Dew.
Mountain Dew Red Alert from the Red Planet, obviously.
Code Red for
Is what
sure.
we're doing. Code Red. And then the food should be those little dino nuggets that we all grew up with
yeah.
in school.
Chicken nugget dinos. Perfect.
Yeah, the dino-shaped chickens.
Yes, I love it. Okay, that's perfect. Well, thank you everybody so much for listening. That's gonna do it for us. We made a movie again. Put that in the books.
Put it in the books.
If you like the show, please give us a good rating and review on iTunes and subscribe and tell your friends. Brock, thank you so much for coming back. Always a treat.
Thank you so much for having me.
Where can anyone who doesn't know you get to know you? Where can they find you?
Hey, just come by my house.
Are you on
here's the
eHarmony?
address. Oh, wow, I should be. No, I'm at Brock Wilbur on Twitter, brockwilbur.com. Come check out. I have a bunch of podcasts. Just search my old name there in the podcast search thing on the iTunes. You can hear some cool stuff, including shows I do with my wife and my buddy friends.
Buddy friends are the best kind of friends. We need to get
Including
get
a recent episode with friends of the podcast, right, Scott?
friends of the podcast, Christopher Hastings and Branson Reese.
Oh, yeah, thank you guys for setting that up. That was a delight.
Yeah, I was glad that worked out. I'm glad to see that they got their Kickstarter funded as of yesterday. We need to get your wife on the show sometime. Do you think she'd enjoy doing bad reboots?
Oh, my God, she would love it.
Wonderful. Well, cool. So thanks again, everyone, for listening. Until next time, I'm Scott Owen.
I'm Frank Sarah.
And Brock, please give us a password for our listeners for next week.
Chicken Dino.
Chicken.